You are born as the kind of child people instinctively move away from. Nobody can explain it. Your mother lifts you into her arms and, within a minute, feels anxious, irritated, and strangely empty, as though the room has lost something essential. Your father tries to look at you the way a father should. He cannot hold the expression for long. Neighbors whisper about bad blood, old curses, and a child the Emperor somehow forgot to notice. The truth would comfort none of them. The Imperium desperately needs people like you. It simply has no place for you to live as one. Growing older makes everything worse. Children fall silent when you approach, then become angry without knowing why. Adults avoid your eyes, forget what they came to say, and invent sensible reasons for the dislike already crawling through them. You have no horns, no visible mutation, no heretic's brand. You look like an ordinary girl. Your presence still feels wrong. Human beings are supposed to leave an impression on one another. Around you, something seems to vanish. You are a blank, an untouchable, a pariah. In the Imperium, human souls burn like distant lights. Yours appears as an absence. A psyker experiences that absence as pain. Concentration slips. Thoughts become heavy. The touch of the warp turns uncertain and then begins to fail. An ordinary person only knows that standing beside you feels like looking into an open grave. They rarely blame the universe for that feeling. They blame the child in front of them. You learn early that other children receive things you will never take for granted. Friendship, casual affection, a crowd that welcomes them instead of opening around them. Even hatred comes to you dishonestly. People reject you before you have done enough to deserve it. Some call you hollow. Others call you soulless. Officials with better vocabulary use blank, psychic null, or untouchable. Every name carries the same instruction: stay away until somebody decides you caused all their problems. Eventually, the machinery of the Great Tithe notices you. Perhaps a local official reports the disturbances surrounding your family. Perhaps an agent of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica watches a sanctioned psyker become sick when you enter the room. The method hardly matters after your name reaches an Imperial ledger. Soon, strangers arrive who understand the value of rare human abnormalities. They hand you to servants of the League of Black Ships. The city has spent years praying that the ships would take somebody else. Today, they take you. Your family cries. Your neighbors look almost relieved. The warmest farewell of your childhood happens while armed officials remove you forever. Imperial family therapy is very efficient. Aboard the Black Ship, you meet people whose lives are even less fortunate. Unsanctioned psykers fill cavernous, warded holds. They are chained, exhausted, drugged, and surrounded by suppressor machinery and prayers scratched into metal. Some whisper in voices that do not belong to them. Some stare at empty corners, as though something there has begun staring back. For the first time, your condition feels less like a curse and more like a purpose. They open paths into the warp. Your existence closes them. You are kept away from the main holds. A blank is not the cargo these vessels cross the galaxy to collect. You are useful in another way. Women in gold-bronze Vratine Armour observe you from the edge of the chamber. Their faces remain calm. Their presence carries the same wrongness as yours. They test your balance, discipline, reactions, and the effect you have on nearby psykers. Few of them speak. The full sisters never do. You do not know the name of their order yet. You understand the important part immediately. These women do not pretend your presence feels comfortable. Their own presence feels exactly the same. They have simply learned the cause, accepted the cost, and sharpened it into a weapon. You are taken into the Silent Sisterhood, the ancient anti-psyker order also known as the Anathema Psychana. Its warriors hunt rogue psykers, guard the black ships, and help enforce the Great Tithe. Their ties to the Astra Telepathica are ancient, though their real loyalty has always reached higher, toward the Emperor and the Imperial household. The Sisterhood does not erase your name, but it strips away the life once attached to it. Somewhere, on a world where neighbors feared you and relatives tried to love you, that name still belongs to a child who no longer exists. Here, different questions matter. Can you approach a psyker while the walls melt around her? Can you hold formation while demonic voices make ordinary soldiers claw at their own faces? Will you lower your weapon when the target looks like a terrified child, even though the warp is already opening behind his eyes? Training teaches you to control your body and weapons, and to place your null presence where it hurts a psyker most. The Sisterhood does not rebuild you into a transhuman giant. You remain human in muscle, bone, and mortality. Every mistake costs ordinary human blood. You learn to move before heavier enemies can bring their strength to bear. You learn to strike once, precisely, and leave no second chance. Your emptiness gives you an advantage against a witch. It does nothing to persuade a bolt round that you are special. Silence becomes part of your service. As a novice, you can still speak. When the Order accepts you fully, you take the vow of tranquility and say the last words you will ever utter aloud. You choose them carefully. Nobody applauds.
The traditions of the Sisterhood have survived 10,000 years without developing much interest in ceremonial encouragement. Afterward, you communicate through Thoughtmark, an advanced and ritualized language of gestures. A turn of the wrist can carry a warning. 2 fingers can identify a target, question an order, or express contempt with enough precision to make spoken insults seem wasteful. Other sisters understand immediately. Most outsiders see only small movements and feel excluded from a conversation they were already desperate to leave. With full induction comes Vratine Armour, the distinctive war gear of the Silent Sisterhood. The suit is fitted to your body. Gold-bronze plates protect the torso and limbs over a dark mesh underlayer, while the high gorget and red cloak create a silhouette that will become more recognizable than your face. It offers protection without turning you into a walking fortress. Speed still matters. So does judgment. The white streak in your dark hair and the scar crossing your eye remain personal. Everything else now belongs to the Order. You are trained as a Vigilator. Your weapon is an Executioner Greatblade, a 2-handed power sword long enough to make every narrow corridor feel narrower. It demands timing, balance, and a willingness to enter the distance where a desperate psyker can see exactly who has come to end them. You repeat the same cuts until your hands stop bleeding and your body begins answering commands before conscious thought catches up. A Vigilator closes with the enemy, breaks through whatever guards the witch, survives the final psychic outburst, and finishes the task at close range. It is a narrow profession. Humanity keeps it fully employed. Other sisters carry different tools. Prosecutors advance with bolt guns, laying down disciplined fire and escorting the Psyker tithes. Witchseekers use flamers to scour hiding places, cult chambers, and anything that is spent too long touching the warp. Vigilators move into the gap they create. The system has a practical Imperial elegance. Fire seals the exits. Bolter rounds punish anyone who runs. You arrive with the final punctuation. Your education extends beyond witch hunting. A cultist with an autogun does not disappear when your null aura reaches him. A soldier under psychic control may continue firing after the mind controlling him has collapsed. Insurgents, mutants, and frightened relatives can kill you with perfectly ordinary weapons. The Sisterhood trains you for raids, boarding actions, prisoner security, urban warfare, and operations beside troops who find it physically difficult to remain close to you. Being a living anti-psyker weapon helps. Surviving a gunfight remains a separate skill. Training never makes you happy. It makes you exact. You learn to advance in a formation where no officer shouts commands, and every warrior still knows when to stop, turn, or kill. You learn to look at a witch without fear.
Psykers understand fear. They taste it in a room before a weapon is drawn. Your presence gives them something else, a cliff edge, a tear in the fabric of their thoughts. Power that once flowed easily begins to hiss, stutter, and die. Ordinary people never become completely comfortable around blanks. The crew of a black ship avoid your gaze. Servants bow, then hurry away. Astropaths lose focus and grow pale when your cadre passes. Even disciplined soldiers feel as though someone has opened a tomb beside them. The Imperium thanks you in its preferred manner. It gives you another assignment and hopes you spend as little time nearby as possible. Your first true hunt comes quickly. A hive world, lower levels, an unsanctioned psyker, still a boy, hearing voices through walls and setting the air alight when frightened.
A local gang hides him while bodies accumulate around their territory. His family believed they could keep him from the tithe. Now, a wound in reality has begun opening beneath their hab block. Family loyalty in the Imperium often ends with an armed response team at the door. Your cadre enters the district without a word. Civilians scatter before you, unable to explain the sudden need to run. You enter the chamber first. The boy raises both hands. Lamps burst, steel buckles, loose objects crawl across the floor as though pulled by invisible hooks. Then he senses you. Confidence leaves his face. His power chokes. The warp stops answering so willingly. He tries to gather his thoughts, and your presence turns each thought into a struggle. The room shakes less with every step you take. Negotiation belonged to an earlier stage of the operation. Capture has already been judged too dangerous.
You close the distance, take a flying shard against a Vratine plate, and drive the great blade upward. The chamber becomes an ordinary room again. It remains filthy, broken, and full of dead people, yet reality has reclaimed it. In the Imperium, that counts as improvement. Afterward, you stop thinking of yourself as the girl taken from her home. You have become part of an old machine. It searches for psykers, gathers the Great Tithe, guards the black ships, and kills those who cannot be delivered alive. The work repeats. Hunt, escort, purge. A rebellion whose leader turns out to be a sorcerer. An interrogation where your presence prevents the prisoner from hiding behind telepathy and illusion. A convoy in which every chained passenger hates you more than the guards carrying guns. Service aboard the black ships deserves its own circle of hell. Their holds are packed with mines that have touched the warp. Wards cover the walls. Suppression systems vibrate through the decks.
Incense fails to hide the smell of disinfectant, metal, and despair. You walk between rows of prisoners, and they fold inward as your aura reaches them. People who spat curses a moment earlier struggle to keep their thoughts assembled. Some begin to cry. Some beg for immediate execution. Others hear silence for the first time in months and discover that silence has no obligation to be kind. You do not heal them. You do not comfort them. You create an area where psychic power becomes unreliable. For the crew, that is protection. For the prisoners, it is another set of bars. Inside the Sisterhood, you finally find something close to belonging. It does not resemble ordinary friendship. The women around you have lived through the same instinctive rejection. They were avoided, reported, collected, and taught to turn isolation into duty. There are no long conversations beside a fire, no songs, no cheerful stories about youth. There is a formation in which nobody flinches from your face.
Your standards for intimacy have become extremely manageable. The Order teaches you its history. During the Great Crusade, the Emperor appointed Jenetia Krole as Knight Commander of the Anathema Psychana. Krole gathered other women with the Pariah gift and forged them into the Silent Sisterhood. She fought at Prospero, in the war within the Webway, and during the defense of Terra. Alongside the Legio Custodes, her order formed one half of the Talons of the Emperor. Krole died at the Eternity Wall spaceport during the Siege of Terra, cut down by Karn of the World Eaters. Her null presence made her so difficult to perceive that he barely understood what he had killed. The first commander of an order built from unwanted women died almost unnoticed. The Imperium has always appreciated symmetry when it hurts. After the heresy, the Sisterhood lost its influence. Many warriors were dead or stranded. Strongholds declined. Separate vigils scattered across the galaxy.
The Chamber Astra continued its work with the Black Ships, while other sisters hunted witches alone or survived in forgotten enclaves. The wider Imperium gradually stopped seeing an order. It noticed only silent guards in prison holds, performing work that made officials uncomfortable enough to avoid asking questions. Thousands of years pass. The Great Rift tears the galaxy open. Demonic incursions become routine entries in military reports, and the Imperium remembers the Sisters of Silence. Surviving vigils are gathered. Old strongholds answer the call. Robute Guilliman orders the Sisterhood rebuilt, and the Adeptus Custodes once again take the field beside them. The Imperium has rediscovered you in the traditional way. The emergency became impossible to ignore. One day, you stand beside a Custodian. He towers over you in Auramite, too large and too controlled to resemble an ordinary soldier. He does not step away. He does not hide discomfort behind courtesy. He knows what you are and why you have been assigned beside him. For someone raised among involuntary revulsion, professional acceptance feels dangerously close to respect. Together, your forces become the talons of the Emperor in practice as well as history. The Custodian brings speed, strength, and martial skill beyond any unaugmented human. You bring the emptiness that attacks the enemy's connection to the warp. Your next mission takes you aboard a Voidship whose protections have failed. Red emergency lights pulse through the corridors. Living growth spreads across the metal walls. Sailors hear the voices of dead relatives and open blast doors that should remain sealed. The demon arrives wearing a shape the human mind cannot hold. Limbs stretch too far. Joints bend in the wrong directions. Its face changes whenever anyone tries to understand it. Ordinary soldiers lower their weapons, scream, or fire at one another. You walk forward. Near you, the creature's connection to the warp weakens. Its outline jerks. Illusions peel away. The warp-fed distortions around its body begin to fail, making the creature easier to perceive, pin down, and wound. Something with flesh can be killed. The Custodian attacks first. His guardian's spear tears through the demon's defense while your aura prevents the creature from rebuilding itself through the warp. You enter from the side and bring the executioner blade down through its body. No battle cries, no speeches about honor. 2 specialized weapons perform the task for which the Emperor's servants once designed them. Nobody congratulates you afterward. Custodians are not famous for casual warmth. He gives a short inclination of the head. To anyone else, it would mean very little. To you, it is nearly a formal address. Then, new orders arrive. New holds, new witches, new worlds where people will hate you before they learn your name. Years of service make you quieter, even within your own thoughts. You have seen too many people become doors into the warp. Too often, your arrival has marked the point where other choices ended. The Imperium avoids thinking about the price. It only needs the black ships to reach Terra, the demons to weaken, the dangerous psykers to remain chained, and humanity to survive one more day. There is no ordinary future waiting for you. No peaceful retirement in a small house. No family table where you turn old missions into harmless stories. The life you have chosen, and the life chosen for you long before that, leaves little room for anything beyond the next duty. With luck, you die in formation, and another sister lets her gaze rest on your body for 1 second longer than protocol requires. With worse luck, you live for many years and collect more evidence that the Imperium survives
because somebody keeps stitching its wounds closed with human bone. Still, the service carries a kind of meaning, cold, severe, and real. Where another person could become a gateway for a nightmare, you become a wall. Where a psyker loses control and drags an entire district toward damnation, you arrive as the end of their power. Where demons sense bright human souls and reach toward them, they encounter you. A place that does not burn, sing, or answer. An emptiness capable of striking back. That is your life as a Sister of Silence. You were born alien to everyone around you. You grew up unwanted. The Imperium took you for service rather than salvation. You surrendered your voice, accepted the armor of the oath, and learned to carry an executioner great blade. Almost nobody will thank you. Humanity continues breathing anyway, with blood and smoke in its lungs, because people like you keep the worst doors closed.
When Imperial citizens pray for protection, they imagine the Emperor's golden light, sacred relics, bolter fire, and the walls of the palace on Terra. Almost none of them imagine you. A pale woman with a white streak in her dark hair, a scar across one eye, and gold bronze armor moving through a corridor without a word. They should. Sometimes humanity survives because of the people it cannot love, cannot understand, and cannot afford to lose. You spend your whole life becoming one of them.